This has been going down. This whole chart here has been going down, down, down for now almost 40 years. And now look what's happening to this chart. We're completely breaking out. There is a major shift that is happening to our economy, to the way we live. That's going to be a major impact and setting a new trend for the next 40, 50 years. Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Hey traders, John Howell here. There's momentum happening in the stock market right now that is really, really, really changing. Plus I'm also going to be looking at gold. What's happening in gold right now? This actually may be a bit of a fake out on the stock market. I'm going to go back to the stock market here for a minute, but a bit of a fake out here, but also there's a major shift that's taking place, as you saw with the intro of the video, right? There's a major shift taking place right now, and I believe it's going to change the way we've been living for the last 40, 50 years. I believe it's changing, and it's going to set a new trend from there. So I'm going to get into all of that there, guys. Also, guys, just to let you know that I'm taking down that free access to the trading course. That trading course on the screen there right now. I used to charge for that, but I've been giving it away for free. I'm about to take that down. So if you want free access to that, guys, that first link in the description, go click on that. And also when you do register for the free course, you also find all the details about how you can join me on my trading challenge that I'm doing. That I'm starting with a $5,000 trading account, and my goal is to grow that into 6 figures. And I'm doing a trade. Well, I'm actually doing the trading challenge, and you can join me on that if you want that as well. So you can see all the details to that first link in the description. So let's actually start with the good old stock market here. So I want to start with the S&P 500 here, because there's two main things here that is giving me like, it's like what is really going on here, right? There's as you guys are probably surprised about, like, look at all this massive move to the upside. Now, is this a true move to the upside in the stock market, or is it a fake out? Now, there's two things that I want to watch for, right? To the right here is my daily charts. This is the S&P 500, okay? And so to the right is my daily charts. To the left is my weekly charts, okay? So all you had to do is buy here at the bottom and then sell here. I'm joking. It's like the hindsight, right? But what's happening right now? Now, there's a few things here. Firstly, I'm going to blow up my daily charts here, and I want to zoom my daily charts out a bit more. And something that I noticed that is still taking place right now, that still is giving me a bit of a warning sign, right? Like, see, there's two scenarios that I'm looking at right now when it comes to the stock market, the S&P 500. The scenario number one is, look what's happening here. What is this here? That is what? See the moving average? This is a 52 moving average on a daily chart. I use 52 moving averages on all charts. I use it on a 5-minute chart. I use it on a 15-minute chart. In fact, last week, there was two beautiful trades. One happened on the Aussie market, and one happened on the Russell as well too. And I use the 50 moving average. Again, in that trading course, guys, if you actually want to learn my trading system, then in that trading course, I teach you my trading system for free if you actually want to learn it for free. So, and then that's that first link in the description there. Now, the thing is that I use the moving average like a momentum indicator, right? If the moving average is going up like this, then the momentum is strong to the upside. If the moving average is going strong like that on the downside, then momentum is what? Momentum strong on the downside. Now, we don't just trade off that, right? That's one of my 4 or 5 rules that I use to enter what's called an A quality setup. And by the way, guys, once you learn my trading system, again, for free, I teach you for free. If you find an A quality setup, it is very difficult for that to actually be a losing trade. It's very difficult, right? Like, we're talking like well over 90% success rate. And if you think I'm full of crap, go teach it, go learn it for free, go find the exact setups, even my private clients, right? Now, the problem is that they don't come around that often, but when they do, then that's what I'm talking about. That's how I trade as well too, right? Plus I trade some other things as well too. But anyway, that's how amazing the A quality setups are. But going back to the stock market here, look what we have here, right? We have momentum coming down here strongly. Now that's giving me a bit of a warning sign, right? The warning sign is that maybe this is just a bit of a fake out. Now there's a few things that's happening here, right? Firstly, look what's happening here to the actual stock market itself. We are still at this point in time, what? Making a low, a lower high, a lower high. Now it's an equal high, right? So nothing has changed. Nothing has changed yet out of this one here. And we are getting a very big, strong move to the upside. Because what can happen is, as you can see through here, look at this point through here. We have a big, strong move down. We have a strong move up. And we can get something like that. Look at this here. Strong move up and then a strong move back down. Are we about to get a strong move up and a strong move back down? We are still making lower highs and the momentum is coming down. So that's scenario number one that I'm looking for. Scenario number two is we're seeing this here, but scenario number two is that what I'm looking for this to be an actual change in trend is, firstly, look at these massive gaps back here, right? Like look at this gap here and gap here. Is this right? Is this true? Is this true? So that's the S&P 500. Let's go to the. Okay, yeah, this is the actual futures chart here. Okay, yep, cool. Yep, so it actually is. So let's go back to the index here. There's actually massive gaps here that will be filled. Now, is this a fake out, right? Now, that's scenario number one that I walked through a minute ago. Now, scenario number two with the stock market is that I'm looking for this, okay, if the pullback, if it does drop through here, how does it drop? Do we drop like this? If so, we know that this is just bam, 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 right? Bam, bam, all the way down. So that's scenario number one. Scenario number two is that how does it drop? Or does it just do something like this? Where it just doesn't do much for a bit, right? It might do something like this, where it starts to become weak, right? This is strong down. Okay, cool. The trend is continuing. If it does something like this, where it's very, very weak, like through there, there could be a possibility of getting a good, strong breakout like that, and then away we go, right? So this is what I'm looking at right now, is what type of move is this? Because if we get a strong move down, like if we get this here, which is scenario number one, this is scenario number two. If we get scenario number one, then that tells me if we get a drop move down, then we're probably going to get a bit of a lower high and then a really big move on the downside, right? This could be, that could set up for a really big move on the downside here. This could just be a fake out. Or scenario number two is that it goes up, we set this up, and then we get ready for another big strong move back up towards these highs up here on the S&P. So this is a really like a do or die situation for me, or for the markets. Either way, I don't really care if it goes down or goes up, right? It's like, who cares? So for me personally, I don't really care. So, but I'm watching these two patterns because they get both set up for some really nice trading opportunities there. But on the back of all that, we can also see from a technical analysis point of view, if I bring up my weekly chart to the left, again, this is the daily chart to the right, and I bring up my weekly chart to the left, look what actually happened here. And again, guys, we are, look at this here, we're still on this downward movement here. But look at this here. If I bring up my support and resistance line, again, this is the weekly chart to the left, guys. So weekly chart to the left, daily chart to the right, okay? But look what ended up happening. I'm going to make this here so it's going to copy across to, see how I'm moving across here. So this is the weekly chart here. But look what actually happened. It actually came all the way down to where? It came all the way down to this major level of support. See how it actually made a lot of the levels of support, maybe even a bit lower than that. It might have been even something down through there, as you can see. So I'd have to say there's probably a couple of different levels, that level there to that level there, of the support level, but we don't need that one there. So we can see this level all through here, right? All this support resistance. Look what actually happened. Came down and then big strong move back up from here. So that's what I'm looking at there when it comes to the S&P 500. Again, this whole move down, like what actually happens here. And as you can see from a weekly chart perspective, look at this here. So if I draw my trend line, I'm also going to make this sink into the daily charts, all right? So see here, this is the weekly chart over here. This is the daily chart over here. Notice what we have through here on this weekly chart. Notice this strong move on the downside through here, all right? So we are still, look at this here. We are still what? We're still very strong on the downside, aren't we, through here? So this could just be a fake out. People could be getting really excited about this move and it just completely reversed against you. And as we've talked about, in this video so far, right, we can see that sometimes the market can give you a bit of a fake out, like, oh, here we go, and then dump on you, right? Here we go, and then dump on you. So we're not out of the woodworks yet, and especially having that momentum on the downside here, that gives me very, very, very weary about, okay, maybe this is changing. So there's the two different scenarios that I'm looking for, guys, on the S&P 500. Let's go look at the Nasdaq itself. So the Nasdaq is actually the Nasdaq's actually a lot different. Okay, the Nasdaq's a lot different. So the Nasdaq, the reason why I say the Nasdaq's a lot different is that, firstly, if I just draw my trend line once again, so let me do this here. I'm going to sync this here. So let's actually sync in. I'm going to sync this here, right? So see how, once again, this is once again, guys, a weekly chart to the left, daily chart to the right. Okay, because a lot of the times we can get really confused. If we look at the daily chart too much, we can get really confused about what's really going on. But I'm just trying to identify that major long-term level, and I have to have my trend line somewhere through there, as you can see. And look where we're at right now. Look where we're at. So we're getting a slight moving average on the downside through here. And as you can see, right, like the best type of positions for this here, even if we do break out, we would generally come back down, right? So if, as you can see, look at this here. So the market went down, then the market flattened out, then the market came back up, came back down to a strong moving average, and then away we went, right? Down, back up. See here? See this here. So as we went up, look what the moving average was doing. It's still what? Trending down. And that's the reason why this whole move up failed and we got rejected again. Makes sense? Because as we're going up, if we're going up, if we have a move up like that, but then the moving average is coming down like that, like it is here, there's a good chance that the momentum is going to drag that back down just like here. So is that what's going to happen through here on the Nasdaq? So again, high, lower high, lower high. This could just be another lower high before we start to see a really strong reversal in the markets here. So that's the dangers of what we're seeing right now across the markets here. If we have a look at some support and resistance on the Nasdaq, we can see that we have this whole, there's definitely a very strong area of resistance up through, I'd have to say through there. All right. Now the reason why, let me make sure that's copied across. So sync in layout. Once again, guys, this weekly chart to the left. I know I'm repeating myself, guys, but I just want to double check. Some people that are new don't use multiple time frames, and that's the reason why I'm repeating myself. So make sure you guys understand that why I'm looking at the daily chart to the right, the weekly chart to the left. Okay, I'm just making sure you guys understand what I'm looking at here. So I'm moving my chart on my weekly chart here, and look at this here. It's very, very, very interesting, right? This whole, remember, this is a weekly chart here, and that's where it rejected it there. For 2 weeks, it rejected it. Then it found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly all that level of support through there. And then once it broke, as you can see, once it actually broke, then we actually got what? A movement on the downside. Then look what happened. It came back up, and this is where it actually found what? A lot of resistance, and then it even found resistance all through there. The purpose of me bringing that up is that whole level through there, which is this level here on the daily charts, is a strong level of resistance. We need to get back above that level there for it to be something. So that's the challenging period that we're in right now on the Nasdaq. There is a bit of resistance up there around that 15,000, call it 15,600 level, somewhere there. But then also on the daily charts, we are still making these lower highs here. So what does this turn into? Does this turn into a bit of a fake out before? Because if this does fail through here, traders, mark my words, if this does fail, if we start to get something like this happening, right, where it actually reverses and we start to get like this, and we start to get something like that happening, there's a good chance we're about to get something like this, and then we break, and when we do break, there's a good chance we're about to see a really big movement on the downside. Now, maybe this is just setting us up for a fake out from the movement to the upside, and then the really big drop comes, just like here, right? Set up, fake out, and then the big drop. Right, maybe we're about to see that in the markets there. But if we do start to see a strong sell-off here this week, that's going to mark it up to about to seeing this thing roll over, and then we break out. We're probably going to break those lows through there. And once we do something like that, then the really good thing about what I'm talking about here, traders, is that I'm actually excited because there's going to be some really good shorting opportunities that's going to come out of this one. Like, I don't really care if it goes down. It's like people that just want to buy the stock market, like, you know, they want to. I don't really care if it goes down. Like, I'm happy to short it, right? Buy put options. So, in fact, I'm hoping this. I'm sort of hoping that scenario does happen, because when it goes down, If we go as it goes down like through here, right, it goes down very, very quickly. Now, when I say very, very quickly, guys, put it this way: these are daily bars here, right? So this looks very, very quick here. Look at this here. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? This is almost this is over 1.5 to 2 weeks of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, so 1 week. 1 week of doing nothing, and then down for a couple of days, then another couple of weeks. So that's what I mean by very quickly, right? People always expect to see dun, 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 right? Oh, by the way, traders, look what I just noticed. Look at this here. Notice how we actually had this big gap here and this big gap here on this big strong sell-off. That was actually a bit of a bottoming pattern, wasn't it? Because look what happened afterwards. I wonder if this is. I wonder if there's certain things. I wonder if this is going to actually change as well too. Right? I wonder if we're going to see this level here and this level here being what changed as well too. Right. So there's a lot of buying power coming into this level through here when it comes to that level there. Let's go look at the Russell. So this is the Russell. Once again, guys, the Russell that I'm noticing has or is in a strong downward trend through here. Let me squeeze my charts up a bit more from here. Actually, I'm going to blow my. There we go. I'm going to move that up there. As you can see, that's all that's happening right now on the Russell. Is it just came to that level of support, and now we're getting a bounce, right? Now we are getting a bounce. So the big key area that I'm looking for on the Russell is, see that moving, look at how strong that moving average is on the downside. We've got a very strong movement up from here on the Russell, on the short-term level there. But with that being said, we're starting to get a very strong movement on the downside. So if the Russell does fail here, if we do fail here on the Russell, then we could start to see some really big, strong movement on the downside, looking at the Russell from that perspective there. And traders are like, it's really interesting, you know. It's like if I go to the chart that I talked about in the intro, and that was the 10-year and the 30-year. Okay, the 10-year and the 30-year. And the reason why I bring this up here is I really believe that this is a major shift that's actually taking place right now. In our overall markets, right? So this is going back here basically since the 70s, and now look what's happening. We've been going down. This is the 10-year interest rate, right? And so the 10-year interest rate has been going down, which has caused what? Which has caused an incredible asset boom across property and across stock market, right? So I honestly believe. I'm going to add to that comment there, which also is the reason why savers will losers, right? Savers will losers in the markets there. That's the reason why that whole, invest money because you can't get ahead using saving account, right? But look what's happening here now. We're starting to get a massive breakout to the upside after 40 years of going down, what I talked about in the intro of this video here. There's a massive 40-year complete movement on a complete change here. So even if we do, even if we do get something like this happening, there's a good chance we're going to find support in the next recession. It may come down, but then this is a trendsetter, right? This is a complete trendsetter. We went from up to down, and now we're overall going to be starting to see if we had a moving average. The moving average would look something like that. From a trendsetter. Now, the reason why that's important is because the way that we've been living for the last 40, 50 years, or at least, for the last 30, 40 years, the way we've been living and seeing the world is going to be completely different after I would say after 2030. After 2030, people will be able to put money back into account and have money sitting there and generating really good interest. I remember back in the 80s, my mentor would say that, if you had $3 million, and you go put it in an interest account of getting 5-6%, that's 150 grand a year. You could just have that now interest free and make 150 grand a year and never have to work ever again in your life and just enjoy your life. Right? That was back in the 80s. I do believe that's coming as well too. Now, by the way, guys, if you had $3 million, $4 or $5 million, then having, and maybe even $10 million, having that sort of money, you go to the bank, you probably get a much, much better interest rate. Anyway, but there's also a lot of things you can do with that. I'm just trying to say, guys, that I believe there's going to be a major shift that's actually taking place right now. So the property boom that we've been seeing, and or that we've actually seen over that time, and also that I believe that's going to change the way that we've been seeing property and the way that we've been seeing all that sort of stuff as well too. So there's a big major shift taking place. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to be a complete bad thing. No, we all know that property is going to keep going up long term overall, no matter what happens. I just believe that it's not going to. We're not going to see. There's going to be a major shift in the way that those things operate. There's going to be a natural rhythm and cycle to it as well too. So I'll get to that in just a minute. But that's actually what I'm seeing there, guys, when it comes to this major shift that I was talking about with the interest rates here. I'd like to hear from you guys on the ground floor. I know here in Australia that people are starting to get really, really, really tight. I talked to my butcher and he said last week was the worst week of the entire year. Last week for his business. And I do know here in Australia, I just recently heard that 20% of all mortgage owners right now are using 40% of their income to keep their properties alive. 40%. Can you imagine all of this? And this is where the emotion side comes into it, right? I'm gonna get to gold in just a minute as well too, but this is where the emotion side comes into it. I never got sucked into the property hype that happened back 3-4 years ago. I never got sucked into the cryptos. In fact, if you're watching my videos, and it's always been my number one thing, and of what I've actually done with my money, is I said, don't touch crypto, buy gold. All right, don't touch crypto, buy gold. And this is obviously the gold chart here. This is a gold weekly chart here. So I've always said, don't touch crypto, buy gold. People buying Bitcoin at 60, 70,000, 50,000. And I've got nothing against Bitcoin, but I was saying people that the mania that was happening back then is that there. Now, on the flip side, when things start to get really, really, really worse, there's also going to be opportunities there as well too, right? There's that yin and the yang on both sides of things. But I'd like to hear from you guys. What are you starting to see on the ground floor for you when it comes to your economy? Are you starting to see shops slow down a bit? Are you starting to see stories like my butcher saying we just had the worst week ever? Are you starting to hear stories of, like, for example, here in Australia, 20% of all mortgage owners are now using 40% of their income to keep things alive? There's massive, massive, massive amounts of debts that they're actually taking on from their decisions they made. For me personally, guys, when it comes to leases and all that sort of stuff, and you know, for me personally, I'm this whole year I've been removing a lot of debt that I've actually had in the background when it comes to, you know, car loans and bad debt and all that sort of stuff. For me, this whole year, guys, I've been reducing this whole debt through here, and I've been reducing my debts massively. That's been my number one goal, has been to reduce my debts massively when it comes to all my debts. So therefore, I'm set and I'm ready for the opportunity, and that's what I've been personally. So, but I'd like to hear from you guys. What are you seeing on the ground floor when it comes to the property market, when it comes to the economy? I'd really like to see from all people around the world to see what's going on there. But when it comes down to the gold market through here, look what's happened with the gold market. What happened with the gold market? We just had what? We had this very big strong move up, and now we've got a pullback, and now we had this up through here. I honestly believe gold is on the cusp of having an incredible explosion move. Now, when I say that language there, guys, let me utilize both charts here again. This is, all right, so let me actually sync in layout and sync in layout. Now, what I'm doing here, guys, once again, daily chart, weekly chart to the left, daily chart to the right. When I say an incredible move, right, when I say an incredible move, I mean that, again, this is the chart here, right? I actually mean something like possibly like a bit of maybe a sideways movement from here, or either a pullback first and then we get going. Because once it actually starts to break above here, I believe gold could take on a massive and incredible move. Look at that big massive false breakout before we had the slingshot pattern. Now that's a slingshot pattern, right? Not one. I've always talked about the slingshot pattern, false breakout followed by slingshot patterns, false breakout followed by slingshot patterns. I've always talked about that. People are like, what happened to the slingshot pattern? This, as you can see, right, that was the slingshot pattern there. Came back down. Now we're doing this here. Once we break out at this level here, guys, I believe we could see a $3,000 gold happen really, really, really quickly on gold. So there's gonna be some amazing trading opportunities, guys, happening within the gold market from there. Let's go look at silver as well too. Silver, look at that moving average there on silver. Very, very, very volatile. But if we have a look at this weekly chart here, guys, the big key areas that I'm watching for, and let me actually draw a trend line from here. That'll be probably the trend line I would use. Let me actually sink this in the layout here. So I'm going to sink this in the layout from there to there, as you can see, right? And so we can see we've had that major level through there, right? Major level resistance, 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 and resistance through here. And it's a big thing, guys. Like something I do with my private clients. If you're interested in becoming a private client, guys, I've got a few spots left open for 2024. This is a whole 12-month for all of 2024. You can be every day. You and I together every week as well too. Support. You see everything from there. I'm basically coaching you for a whole 12 months. If you're interested in that, then I've got a few spots left open. That's that second link in the description. You can go book a call with me, and then I'll see if we're a good fit for each other when it comes to me coaching you and joining my coaching program. I only have a small group. This whole year, guys, when it comes to me having daily coaching, it's only been a small group of say 12 people. That's how small it's been. So people that when it comes to my daily coaching, it's been such a massive small group, and I like to keep it that there. So if you are interested in and if you do really need help, guys, and you want to see exactly what I'm doing, and you do need some daily coaching, then again, I do keep the group quite small. And if that's for you guys, that second link in the description there, click on that, go book a call with me, and then I'll talk to you and see if we're a good fit for each other for 2024. But we can also see what's happening through here, right? All through here. So I'm also going to sync this in layout. So I'm going to sync both these in layout here. So again, this is that. You can see what's happening here. I'm going to squeeze this chart up here, but also we can see through here. Look at this here. The squeeze is real. Look at this here, right? The squeeze is real. And this whole squeeze is real scenario, right, when it comes to this, is what? When this breaks out, when this finally has its day, silver, should I say, and we start to really get back above, say, 28 and 30, if I have a look at, say, support and resistance signs, right? Let me bring this up to here. Again, I'm going to sync in layout so you can see where it is on the daily chart. Again, weekly chart to the left, daily chart to the right. We can see that whole level through there, which is what? Which is around that $26 and $26.30 level, around there. That whole area through there, maybe even a bit lower. I can also see on this chart here that's been that level through there. That's a big key area, right? As you can see what's happening here on the daily charts. Let me take the 52 off this chart now because it's very volatile. We don't need to see that. The most important thing for me right now when I'm looking at is just the chart itself. But we can see what's happening here. This is that whole resistance level through there, all through there. And now we have the $26 mark through there as well too. So this whole point through here is, to me, I believe if this is going to start, if gold starts to break out and silver starts to follow, then the next level that silver could get to pretty quickly, I would say, is around that $36 mark, and then we could see even a bigger move there. But that's that whole level through there that I'm personally going to be watching, because when I start to drill down, it's going to be some really good trading opportunities from there. And if I go back to even gold, if I go back to gold and I utilize what's called a channel projected target, and what I mean by that is that whenever we see a channel like this here, I like to, let me actually sync this in layout so we can actually see it. I like to project it from there to there, down like that there, as you can see. So I like to actually get the whole target, and then I like to bring it up from there to there. And this is where, if I just clone one of these as well, this is where we're probably likely to get to on a minimum basis. I always say minimum basis because I believe it's going to go a lot higher. So this is once gold really starts to break out. Now, not now, guys, not now, because we've actually, and I say not now, because we actually don't want to see it now, right? We've had this incredible move up. What we want to see is we want to see either a sideways movement or some form of a pullback, and then get ready to go again, right? We don't want to see this thing go up like that, because then that's where this actually could be a bit of a false breakout here. There can be a false breakout happening here. So we don't actually want to see this thing just continue up from here. We want to see a bit of a pullback first, and then let's go, like a bit of a mock charge type thing happening from there, for when it comes down to that level from there to there. Let's have a quick look at the actual the Australian market as well too, which I do trade every day myself. I trade all markets, by the way, guys. I tried the Aussie market, the Aussie stock market. I trade the futures market. I actually had a beautiful trade last week on the futures market. So anyway, what's happening here on the Aussie market, guys? We can see we're still making these highs, lower highs, lower highs, and lower highs. So the trend is still down from here. If we have a look at support and resistance levels on this weekly level, this whole weekly chart through here, we're definitely getting a level of resistance all around where we are right now. So we're definitely getting these lower highs through here, guys. Around the 7,000 level is resistance. If that doesn't hold, then the next level that we can actually see the Australian market getting down to is around about these levels down the bottom here, as you can see. So if this doesn't hold, if this whole level up here doesn't hold, then that whole level through there, maybe even a bit lower, right? If we start to get back below this level through here, we're possibly going to get a move back down towards that level there, and that could actually start to really accelerate as well too, because as you can see, there's actually like a lot of white space through here. There's actually a lot of, see that whole air through there? So if we start to get something like this, we could start to get something like that and really accelerate on the downside when it comes to that level there. Let's go look at the Bitcoin chart, and let's actually see what's happening with the Bitcoin, right? The big thing I was looking at the Bitcoin chart is that the Bitcoin's actually been in an upward trend for a bit of time right now. And one thing I was looking at on a bit recently is that in an upward trend, the most important part is a higher low, right? So as long as it's making higher lows, we're in an upward trend. But sometimes we can come down and actually find a support and come up there. And some people would call this a head and shoulder. Oh, look, there's a shoulder, there's a head, there's a shoulder. It's a head and shoulder formation. But because we didn't break the low through here, remember the most important part to me is a higher low in an upward trend. Low, higher low, higher low, but it didn't actually break the low. And sometimes you'll see this in the markets, and then it'll do that, and then it'll just continue out from there. And you think, oh man, that was a head and shoulder, but it's not now. But what we can see through here, the reason why I'm bringing this up here is sometimes the market got, look at this, low, higher low, equal low. So it didn't actually break that low. So we're actually still in a bit of an upward trend, not a strong upward trend, but we are in a bit of an upward trend. And then we had this move from here. And that's the reason why this low, and we had this move here, because this was actually really trading with the overall trend when it comes to the Bitcoin chart from there. So Bitcoin's actually had a very strong move to the upside. If we bring on now my 52 moving average and I blow my charts up, you will notice that we generally don't get too far away from the moving average before we start to sort of want to come back to it. So this is actually what's called slowing from here. And I'm just bringing on my 9 moving average here for a minute just to see it. Yeah, so what slowing means is that sometimes you can get a trend. And let me see if I can find an example here on this chart of what I'm talking about slowing. Okay, so something like this here, right? Again, let's take the moving average off the screen here for a minute. Slowing simply means on a chart level basis, right? On a chart level, you can see it goes up strong, and then it starts to go like that. See how that's what's called slowing, right? We had a very strong move up, and then it starts to slow, and then you get the reversal from there, right? So what I'm saying through here is we got the strong move up from there, and now we're getting this period from here. So if we do get something like this coming out of Bitcoin, then we could be getting ready for something like that. Now that's probably just going to be a pullback down towards this, say, 31,000 level, and then we see what happens from there. But if we do get a bit of a drop from here, that could start just at least a pullback, because the overall trend for Bitcoin now is definitely strong on the upside.